Hello, good morning, and welcome to Unacademy IAS. This is Shyam Sir here, taking up the Hindu News analysis for the date 14th December 2025. Before I start the discussion, please do let me know that I'm audible and visible for all of you. Those who are present in the session, please give the confirmation. Done. Thanks a lot. So today I'll be taking up a total of 11 articles, all of them from the daily edition of the Hindu newspaper. The discussion will be comprehensive, which will help you to answer the questions in the prelims as well as mains examination of the UPSC Civil Services 2026 and 2027. If you're liking the initiative, do not forget to hit the like button. If you're yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly do it right now. Before I start the session, I have a very important announcement to make. As part of Unacademy's 10th birthday celebrations, we are offering a 50% discount on all our courses. Whatever is the price displayed on the website, use the code IAS English and you will receive the discount. In addition to this, we are also offering dual validity. Under this, if you subscribe the courses for 6 months, additional 6 months will be provided from us free of cost. If you take the subscription for 1 year, additional 1 year free of cost from us. And the third component, which has been provided in the combo of threes, this is being provided for the first time, that is Unacademy Assure. Let's say you have taken our subscription, you are not able to clear the exams, then your next attempt will be on us. Do not miss out this opportunity. Those who want to check out the details, click on the link provided in the description below. Now, let me begin the discussion. The first important article: does the Netflix Warner deal threaten cinema? In the last 1 week, there has been a lot of discussion associated with one possible merger. I'm saying possible acquisition in the USA market. That is Netflix proposing a bid to acquire Warner Bros. And the Warner Bros. Initially agreeing to this particular deal. Now, what is the issue all about? What are the implications? Let's try and understand. Please understand this. The Warner Bros. Essentially is a studio in the USA. There are multiple studios which are working across the world. This is one of the largest and one of the oldest studios, which is involved in producing the movies, which is involved in the distribution of the movies, as well as involved in providing various channels, that is basically the networks. The Warner Bros., I'll start using the short form here, WB. WB essentially is having two main divisions. One division is the Warner Bros. Cinemas. Along with this, there is HBO. I'm pretty sure all of you heard of this. And along with this, there is also HBO Max. This is involved in movies, the web series or the serials, etc. In addition to this component, there is also one more component or one more part of the Warner Bros. That is essentially the Discovery Global. The Discovery Global owns or operates the news channels such as CNN as well as the other TV channels such as TLC. Right now, the Netflix company has proposed or has bid to acquire this component. Please follow the arrow mark here. This particular component, that is the Warner Bros. Plus HBO plus HBO Max, at a price of around $82 billion. Actual bid is around $72 billion. With the debt, the total amount of the bid has taken to or has increased to $82 billion. Along with this, there is also one more company which initially bid, but the Warner Bros. Actually went on and accepted the bid of Netflix. Now, this particular company has now basically gone over the board of Warner Bros. It has approached the shareholders of the WB. It has approached, I repeat, the shareholders of WB and has announced one more bid to purchase a overall WB company at a price of $108 billion. And as usual, if something is happening major in USA, the president of USA has to weigh in. The president of USA has to talk about it. And president of USA according to your expectations, has spoken about this possible takeover of WB by the companies. The president simply says he is directly looking into this particular possible merger or the acquisition of WB by the company Netflix. Now, what are the issues here? What are the important points that you need to make a note? It is essentially an acquisition of one company by another company. Simple. You will come across a term called as M&A. M&A, mergers and acquisitions. In case of India, the Competition Commission of India is the nodal authority to oversee the M&As, and instead of using the term M&A, the Competition Commission of India uses the term combinations. Remember, the technical terms as well can be asked in the prelims examination. The CCI, Competition Commission of India, uses the term combinations. In the USA, the mergers and acquisitions essentially can happen in different sectors. Mergers and acquisitions can happen in banking. Mergers and acquisitions can happen in the, let's say, cinema industry or any other line of industries. But importance of this is, one, Netflix is a streaming company. I'm pretty sure all of you heard of the company Netflix, and a lot of you have the subscription of Netflix, either your own subscription or your friend's subscription. Your friend will keep on giving you password and you will keep on using the same password to avail the same set of, let's say the web series or let's say the movies, etc. So Netflix is a streaming giant. It's a streaming company. That is, it is not involved in the movie business as it is shown in the theaters. The movie business, when I say in this context, it is traditional movie business. That is basically the theaters, where you go to theaters, watch the movie there, buy overpriced popcorn, samosas, a sandwich, etc. And at the end of the movie, realize that you have paid more money on the other things rather than the ticket price. So the Netflix company is not involved in movie production and, let's say, the theater business. It is mainly involved in the streaming business. That is, they will give you a subscription, purchase the subscription, and whatever services, whatever movies, the series, the web series or the TV serials, whatever is there, they will stream it onto your, let's say, device. The device could be your mobile, device could be your computer, device could be your tablet, or somebody will simply say, so no tablet, iPad. I can't call this as tablet, they'll say. Okay, so tablet, iPad or TV. So it is a streaming service. So what is the concern? If Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, it will eventually lead to a vertical merger. A vertical merger. As in the streaming, the production, as well as the distribution. All the companies will come under one umbrella now, under one company now. With this, the concern is that the production of the movies for releasing in the theaters could be affected. Is everybody okay with the statement? The production of the movies which can be released in the theaters could be affected. Why? The Netflix might simply say, let's not produce this movie at this kind of a budget. Let's directly release it on a streaming platform at lowered budget. So one, the theater business would be affected. And this would have an impact on employment generation as well. Employment generation. A number of employees which are working in, let's say, the production houses. Number of people working in the theaters. Many other service providers, all of them would be affected. And not just this, there is also concern that the movie production itself might be hurt. In simple terms, Netflix, rather than working on cinemas, which will provide, let's say, social commentary, rather than producing cinemas, which will have, let's say, certain artistic value, they will focus only on the commercial aspect of the business. In order to earn profit by streaming it, they will focus on the normal masala-based movies, masala or the one which is commercial-based movies, and might shell many of the projects which might have contributed to the artistic value in the cinemas. So these are some of the concerns which have been raised in the context of Netflix acquiring Warner Brothers. Now, what is the situation in the USA? On one side, Netflix has already announced that they are going to acquire maybe in 2026. On the other side, the Skydance Cinemas, they have gone for a bid proposing 107 billion. They have gone overboard, or basically they have bypassed the board of Warner Brothers, approached the shareholders. And the third, the government, that the president of India, has promised that they'll be overseeing, or he'll be overseeing this particular merger, because it has a larger impact on the overall cinema industry. So these are some of the things which are associated with the first article, right? That is Netflix Warner Brothers deal. Beyond this, please don't waste your time, but please understand there is another associated concept with this particular newspaper article. That is, earlier, even in case of the USA market, mergers used to happen very, very easily. I'll give you one example. The banking sector or the financial industry, the mergers used to happen very frequently and very, very easily. And there is always a problem whenever there are mergers like this. Mergers means number of players in the market will go down. Very simple. All of you able to understand? Number of service providers or the players in the market will go down. With the lower number of players, now the competition would be much lesser compared to earlier situation. As a result of that, the price of the services provided would also increase. But there is one more issue associated with this. The issue is, if there are 3 or 4 major service providers left out in the market, if one major service provider or one major company crashes, what will be the impact of that on the whole market? You can associate that with the current issue of Indigo in India, or the crash of stock market, which was actually started by the crash of Lehman Brothers in the USA market, etc. So whenever the number of players will keep on reducing, there is always a concern associated with monopolization of the market and abuse of the, or let's say the overpricing of the services, and the impact if one of the service provider will crash. These are certain important points. Now associated with this, I've given a practice question for you for the mains answer writing. The vertical integration in digital and media platforms threaten market competition and consumer choice. Discuss with reference to the Netflix bid to buy Warner Brothers. 250 words, 15 marker question. Please try it out. And in addition to this, I've given an MCQ as well. I want all of you to answer to this particular question now. Quickly solve this and tell me the answer. Consider the following statements. The mergers and acquisitions in India are regulated by Competition Commission of India. CCI is a statutory body. CCI functions under Ministry of Consumers Affairs, Consumer Affairs. Let's start. Mergers and acquisitions in India are regulated by Competition Commission of India. Straightforward, correct. CCI is a statutory body. Yes, statutory body means there is a piece of legislation, there is an act. Under the provisions of the act, the authority is set up. This is correct. Competition Commission Act of 2002. The CCI functions under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs. This particular statement is wrong. It functions under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. It functions under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, not Consumer Affairs. Out of 3, 2 statements are correct. Right option will be option B. Only 2 are correct. Everybody is okay with the discussion? Please do let me know. Can I move on to the next discussion? Done? Okay. Now, listen to me very carefully. Starting 15th December, Chetan sir is going to start a new platinum batch. Those who are interested, do enroll. And just if you want to learn certain important concepts associated with international relations, even though you are not interested in whole IR, but important concepts such as India-Pakistan relations, India-Afghanistan relations, or how to study international relations, what should be the strategy, what should be the reference material. All you need to do is join the live sessions free of cost on 15th, 16th as well as 17th December. For that, you need to register first. The link for the registration is provided in the description. And how many of you are preparing for the Civil Services 26? Please do let me know in the chat section. If you're somebody who's preparing for the Civils 2026 or for that matter, any competitive exams, one of the very important areas will be banking. I'm pretty sure you also know this by now. One of the important areas will be banking. Guaranteed questions have been asked in all the competitive exams, especially in the UPSC Civil Services Prelims on the chapter banking. Now, on Tuesday, listen to me very carefully. On Tuesday, I'll be taking a marathon session to cover all the concepts under the chapter banking. And this session will start at 6 p.m. The session will start at 6 p.m. on the same YouTube channel. Do not miss out. We will discuss important concepts. I'll give you MCQs to practice. You'll have to tell me the answer, participate and tell me the answer. And I know a lot of you keep on thinking, sir, I'll watch it recorded. Please don't do that. The way you learn in the live sessions is completely different, much more effective. We can interact. You can raise the question. I'll answer to your question in the live session. Do not miss out. Tuesday, 6 p.m. live, and it will be a marathon. Please get ready for the marathon session. Okay, now let me go forward. Next article. The government of USA, that is the president of USA, now has allowed sale of certain type of Nvidia chips to China. Nvidia chips to China. What kind of the chips which are being allowed to be sold now? H200 Nvidia chips. H200 Nvidia chips. Now, what are the important points? Listen to me carefully. Globally, there is a lot of interest, investment, as well as progress in the context of chip making, right? Semiconductors, chips, etc. But whenever there is an investment and production of certain new age technologies, especially chips, what the countries have done is the governments of the respective country have tried to impose a certain restriction. Impose certain restriction on what? On exports. On the exports of this particular chips, on the usage of these particular chips, etc. For example, back in the year 2018, when Mr. Donald Trump was the president, the 2016 and 2020, it was Mr. Donald Trump only. So when Mr. Donald Trump was the president, back in the year 2018, certain restrictions were imposed on the exports of chips which were manufactured in USA to China. Certain restrictions were imposed. What was the logic? Logic was, if I export the latest chips, China will import it and they will use the chips to develop their own technology. Their GDP will increase, and it might happen that China's GDP will overtake USA's GDP. That is one concern. Their growth will be happening very faster. Second, they might use the chips which are exported from USA, develop their own chips which are much more advanced. Compared to chips which are available in the US market. And the third, which is the most important factor, is associated with security. Security. What is the context of security here? What if the chip is exported to China? The ministry, that is the defense industry in China, will use the advanced chip and they will develop better weapons. They'll be able to manufacture very good weapons which can be again countering the USA weapons. So because of these particular reasons, restrictions were imposed by the USA government. And these restrictions continued even during the Biden administration. But now there is a concern. There is a concern. What is a concern? If there's a complete ban on the export of these particular chips to the Chinese market, what China might do is, one, purchase these particular chips in the gray market, use the chips and develop better advanced chip in the coming days. And according to many experts, it is just a matter of time. I repeat, it is just a matter of time. That is, China is expected to overtake USA in the technology of manufacturing chips as well as the utility or the powerful chips that is present only in USA right now, which are manufactured by Nvidia. It is just a matter of time. So rather than allowing China to overtake it suddenly like this, what the government of USA trying to do right now is allow the export of H200 Nvidia chips. These are manufactured by Nvidia, by the way. Okay. So these exports will be done or allowed, but there's a condition. The USA administration simply says whatever is the revenue generated by the company, whatever revenue they will generate by selling it to China, 25% of the revenue has to be given to the government of USA. 25%. In fact, mid 2025, there was an agreement that was arrived between Nvidia company as well as USA, wherein Nvidia agreed to provide 15% of the total revenue that they generate when they export the chips to the Chinese market. 15%. Now, basically, US government says not 15 on H200. I will allow you to export it to China, provided you promise to give me 25% of the total revenue. 25%, mind you. Right? So these are certain important points. But question is, why is the government of USA is changing the policy very often? 1 year, they will announce a complete ban. Another year, they will allow the export. And by the way, this H200 is not the most advanced chip right now. I repeat, is not the most advanced. There is one more chip which is much more advanced than this. USA is not allowing the export of that chip. It is allowing a lesser advanced technological chip. But the question arises the same. Why? Why is the government of USA changing the policy so often? Reason is very simple. The reason behind this is, if the government of USA doesn't allow the export of these particular chips, China might fasten or speed up the investment in the chips market and develop the chips which are much more better, which are much more advanced compared to the Nvidia chips. There is always a concern. And by allowing these particular exports of the chips, whatever is the requirement of the Chinese companies, to a certain extent, it will be satisfied. In fact, this announcement was done by the President of USA a couple of days ago. And immediately once it was reported in the news, many companies such as ByteDance, right, this particular company as well as Alibaba have shown interest in putting an order for the H200 Nvidia chips. So argument of the government of USA is that if I put a complete ban, then they will speed up their investment. They will ask the private sector companies which are already doing a lot of investment. For example, Huawei company. They are investing a lot of money in developing their own, right, let's say chips. And if there is no supply of the chips, if they invest, speed up the investment and technology, etc., their chips might end up becoming completely or much more advanced compared to USA chips. That is the first one. Second one, by supplying some of the chips, we want to continue to have this kind of a reliance, import dependence should be continued in China. Because the chips are available, companies will not be focused on developing other chips. So their import dependence will continue on the USA chips. And the third very important point, please remember, make a note of this. By allowing the export of these particular chips, the government of USA wants to have a better negotiation techniques when they will negotiate for a trade deal with China. There have been multiple rounds of negotiations to and fro which has taken place between both of these particular countries. Now the government of USA wants to ensure that they will have a bargaining chip. Like China has a very good bargaining chip, that is critical minerals. So USA also wants to have its bargaining chip whenever there is a trade negotiations conducted in the next round. So these are some of the very important points associated with the administration of USA allowing the sale of H200 chips to Chinese market. Everybody is okay? Can we move on to the next article now? Please do let me know. Everybody is okay? Can we move on to the next article? Okay. Now, before I go to the next article, please solve this particular question. Consider the following statements. China is the first country in the world to achieve a trade surplus of $1 trillion. The largest trade surplus of China is with USA amongst its trading partners. Third, China's exports account for over 14% of the global exports. What is the answer? Please do let me know. China is the first country in the world to achieve a trade surplus of $1 trillion. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. This particular statement is true, by the way. It has become the first country in the world to have a trade surplus of 1 trillion. The largest trade surplus of China is with USA amongst its trading partners. Yes, this statement is also true. How much is the trade surplus? It's around $370 billion. $370 billion. With India, the trade surplus is around $100 billion. China's exports account for over 14% of the global exports. Yes, this particular statement is also true. Some reports suggest it is around 15%, some reports around 14%. But it is more than 14% right now. Now, here is my question to all of you. What is India's exports share in the global exports? I'll repeat the question. I want an answer from all of you. In fact, this was asked once in the prelims examination. What is the total value of India's exports as a percentage of total global trade? Please do let me know the answer in the chat section, and those who are watching the recorded session, do let me know in the comment section. All the three statements are true. Right option for the question is option C. Let's go forward. Somebody is saying 6%. My dear, please take care of it. It's not 6%. It's half of it. Next, how will Australia's social media ban work? How will Australia's social media ban work? What is there in the current affairs? Already Chetan sir has discussed a lot of aspects associated with this article. I'll just give you updates here. The Australian government, or the country Australia, has become the first country in the world to impose a ban through an amendment of the bill, or through an amendment bill, where anybody who is below the age of 16 years will not be given access to certain social websites or social media websites or the apps. A ban will be imposed. Below the age of 16 years, ban, right? You are not allowed to use that. Best example, Facebook. And the best example is Facebook itself. So what is the logic? Why has the government of Australia announced it? It has announced because it is worried that there could be certain people who might be, right, humiliating the children, right, who might be harassing the children, who might be sexual predators who are messaging these particular kids below the age of 16 years, etc. So there are various concerns associated with children or the youngsters below the age of 16 years who are addicted, I repeat, who are addicted to the social media. In fact, I'm pretty sure you must have seen surrounding you, not you, I know that. You will basically say, sir, for me, there is no time available. I'll ask you, have you read this article? You'll simply say, no, sir, I'm busy with UPSC preparation. So I know you people don't have so much time, but surrounding you, you must have seen so many people addicted to the social media, right? So argument is there is too much of addiction. There could be sexual predators who will basically try to take advantage of the children here. They will basically try to, right, humiliate them, etc. So concerns are there. In order to address this, now the Australian government has imposed a ban on people below the age of 16 years from getting access to these apps. The logic is simple, as already explained. But having said so, how will the government impose this particular ban? How is the government considering to impose this ban? And if what if a company violates and provides the access to their apps, to their services, to children below the age of 16 years? There are penal charges or penalty clauses which have been inserted in the form of provision. The companies, if they violate the provisions, they will be penalized. In addition to this, the law simply states that the companies will be held responsible. They will have to take certain measures in order to ensure people who are using their app are above the age of 16 years. They will have to ensure. How so? Facial recognition app can be utilized. Facial recognition app can be utilized to identify, based on the facial recognition, what is the age of the user. But having said so, there is also concern that there would be faulty outcomes of facial recognition. What if there is a wrong estimation by using this kind of a facial recognition technology. The age estimated is wrong. Either you are above the age of 16, but it recognizes you as below 16. And if you are below 16, what if it recognizes you as above 16? So in such cases, there is another mechanism which has been recommended. Okay, so this is basically the update associated with the article here. Beyond this, I don't want to repeat the same thing because Chetan sir has already discussed this article in detail. Okay, now next article. This was there in yesterday's newspaper, lot of other newspapers as well. Let's understand what is the issue all about. MGNREGS to be renamed. The government of India has introduced the bill to rename Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. What are the important points here? Important points is, one, the MGNREGA. It is an act right now. Initially, it was called as NREGS, National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. NREGS was implemented from the year 2005. It was implemented from the year 2005. And later, in the year 2009, it was renamed as Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. In simple terms, the prefix, I repeat, the prefix of Mahatma Gandhi was added in the year 2009. Now, what is the proposal of the government of India? The proposal of the government of India is basically two things now. One, they want to rename the scheme from MGNREGS. Now they want to rename it as Puja Bapu Employment Guarantee Scheme. Is it okay? Please do let me know. Puja Bapu Employment Guarantee Scheme. So they want to rename this. This is the first very important point. Second very important point is they want to increase the number of working days. Increase the number of wage days which are provided under the scheme. Right now, please remember the number here. Under section 3 of the act. Under section 3 of the act, it offers at least 100 days of wage opportunities. 100 days of the wage opportunities per person, right, which will be identified from the household. They will offer at least 100 days. Underline this particular term. Why? I'll tell you in a minute. And I've asked a question also. That's a reason. So at least 100 days. The law simply says you have to offer at least 100 days. But the concern which has been raised by many of the experts is this at least has been taken as a ceiling. It has been taken as a ceiling. The law says you will have to provide at least 100 days, which means 100 or above 100. But the governments which are implementing across the state, the government, when it is implementing the scheme, has essentially taken this 100 as a ceiling itself. They are not offering more than 100. They are offering simply 100 days of employment opportunities. They are simply offering 100 days. In fact, to prove the point, one expert writes, listen to this. How many days of work opportunities you have provided for a wage employee? Wage employee for a household, you will have to enter the data in a website. You'll have to enter all of this data in the website. Now, in the column where you need to mention the number of days, the column does not take any number more than 100. All of you able to understand this? The column where you need to enter the data as to how many days of job opportunity, unskilled employment opportunities you have provided, where you need to enter the data, that column doesn't take any entry above 100 days. Right? So the logic was at least 100 days of unskilled work should be provided. Now, the system has been developed in such a way that more than 100 days, it cannot be provided. So there has been a demand from multiple states. For example, Chhattisgarh. There has been a demand from multiple states to increase the number of working days. And that is exactly what the government of India has proposed now. They want to increase the number of unskilled wage days which are provided under the scheme, along with change in the name of the scheme. Right now, the reports state that the proposal is to increase the number of working days to 125 days. Increase it to 125 days. And there is also one report which mentions that the government of India is also considering changing the contribution that is done to the scheme. Right? Let's wait and see what is the outcome. Right? This is basically the update. Now, associated with this, please solve the MCQ very quickly. Please solve the MCQ very quickly. Consider the following statements about MGNREGA. The nodal authority is the Ministry of Labour. The Act guarantees exact 100 days of skilled labor. The wages under this are same across India. How many of the statements are true? Do let me know the answer. Okay, let's start. Some of you have given answer. Let's start. The nodal authority is the Ministry of Labour. No, incorrect. Ministry of Rural Development. Ministry of Rural Development. The Act guarantees exact 100 days of skilled labor. Underline the term exact. Underline the term skilled labor. No, that is incorrect. And the third one, the wages under this are same across India. This is also incorrect. Some of you have given option A, or I should say most of you have given option A. It is incorrect. The wages under this are same across India. Absolutely no. It will vary from one region to another region. I repeat, will vary from one region to another region. It is not the same across India. All the three statements are incorrect. Right option for the question will be option D, none of the above. Let me go forward. Next article. Everybody is okay with the discussion? Please do let me know. Everybody is okay with the discussion so far? Let me go to the next article. Wanted sons, unwanted daughters. Now, what are the important points that you need to remember, take away from the article? Back in the year 1991, after the census was conducted, the government of India looked at the sex ratio, and we realized there is a very high preference in India for having sons. Right? It is very, very high. It is seen in lot of households where they want the children only sons. They do not want a girl child. So what was the sex ratio back in the year 1991? 929 female for every 1,000 males. That was the sex ratio. So government of India looked at the sex ratio. There was a decline in the sex ratio. So government back in the year 1993, 94 it came into force, introduced a law, PCPNDT. PCPNDT, preconceptual prenatal diagnostic techniques. I'll repeat the statement. Preconceptual prenatal diagnostic techniques. Basically, it's a technique where, right, usage of technology is done, scanning is done, and you come to know what is the sex of the baby. Sex of the baby which is growing in the fetus. Now that was basically used to conduct lot of abortions. Once the parents find out that the fetus is not, let's say male, or fetus doesn't have a boy, it has a girl, lot of abortions used to be conducted. So what happened was government of India introduced this law and made revealing of the sex of the fetus illegal. Revealing of the sex was illegal under this particular provision. Although I distinctly remember a couple of months ago when I discussed another article associated with this, there is not an effective implementation of the provisions under this. But this article discusses one more issue now. One more issue. What is the issue? Yes, no doubt, under PCPNDT, we have made it illegal to disclose the sex of the fetus. Now, with dissemination of the digital media, dissemination of the social apps, etc., or media apps, etc., there are a lot of videos on the YouTube, books on the e-commerce websites, which basically try to give an answer based on certain characteristic, not scanning, based on certain characteristic, whether the fetus has, right, a boy or a girl. Whether, right, the fetus is a boy or a girl, you can define it or you can find it out using certain characteristics. I'm pretty sure you also have come across this when you're doom scrolling through multiple videos in the YouTube. Right, one or the other video will pop up where they'll simply say, if, right, let's say the woman is behaving like this, if the woman is having this kind of a craving, etc., etc., then you can basically come to a conclusion that the fetus has, right, a boy or a girl like this. Now, on the face of it, a lot of you will look at it and ignore it. I hope you understand this. On the face of it, you will look at it and you will laugh at it because you have studied biology, you know what is the actual process, etc., and you will ignore it. But in reality, what happens? That is dangerous. In reality, what happens is a lot of people who watch the video are influenced by them. They are influenced by them. And it could be the parents, it could be relatives of the parents, etc. And because we have such a system in India, lot of pressure can be put by the relatives who have watched the video. Now they will force the woman to basically undergo, right, abortion. If not possible through legal ways, some of the ways which are very dangerous, which many of the experts flag and say, abortions being conducted in the households which are not authorized, which are not clinically proven, very dangerous, and many of the times can even end up hurting the woman, etc., have been conducted. So now the concern is, in addition to, right, let's say the scanning where the sex can be revealed illegally, in addition to that particular concern, now digital media is also becoming a headache for the government. Right? It is becoming a headache. Why? Families where there are two girl children or two girl child, right, three girl children, where the family is mad. Basically, they want to have a boy at the end, right? Let's say at least one boy, etc. So because of these kind of issues, now the digital media is adding another layer of a problem. So what has the government of India done now? The government of India has asked a list to be prepared. List to be prepared as to what kind of websites are giving this kind of illegal information, right, or immoral information. What kind of books are being sold on what websites, etc. The list has to be prepared, and the government of India wants to take action on these kind of, let's say, the people who are spreading this information. So that is the update associated with, right, let's say, sex determination issue in India. Please remember this update. Okay, now associated with this, one more MCQ. Please solve the MCQ. Consider the following statements. The nodal authority for the implementation of PC-PNDT Act is Ministry of Women and Child Development. The government has implemented Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao to arrest the sliding child sex ratio. As per NFHS 5, the data shows that the sex ratio is 1020. I'm pretty sure all of you look at the statements, or some of you look at the statement and say, sir, all the statements are difficult because you did not discuss that in the article. These are not from the article. I want you to understand other important points in addition to whatever we have discussed. Let's start. The nodal authority for the implementation of PCP&DT Act is Ministry of Women and Child Development. A lot of you will feel this is correct. Incorrect. It is incorrect. It is nodal authority in the context of this is Ministry of Family and Welfare, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Please remember, first statement incorrect. The government has implemented Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao to arrest the sliding child sex ratio. Yes, this is one of the most important objective of the initiative. As per the NFHS 5 data, it shows that the sex ratio is 1020. Some of you are saying third statement is incorrect. My dear, it is correct. Third statement, right? A lot of you look at it and say not at all possible, etc. It is correct, by the way. The National Family Health Survey for 2019 and 2021. 2019 and 2021 simply says that the sex ratio in India is 1020 for every 1000 males, 1020 females for 1000 males. But the same report, this is more important, listen. But the same report also flags one very important point. Do not take this particular number and give too much emphasis on the number. Do not overemphasize on this number. Why? The report simply says we could have arrived at this particular data based on our smaller sample size. Is everybody okay with the statement here? Please do let me know. We could have arrived at this particular data 1020 for every 1000 males because our sample size was a smaller number. Right? Because please remember this, a lot of the data that you come across, it is based on sampling. What is the basic idea for sampling? You take certain representatives, let's say villages, right, localities, etc. You find out data for those representatives, then you extrapolate for whole of India. You extrapolate, you expand it for whole of India. That is sampling. Whereas census is not sampling. In census, you go to every household. For example, the census data 2001. For the census 2001, the sex ratio was 933. For 2011, the sex ratio was 943. Right? Remember this particular data. This is taken as more credible data compared to NFHS numbers. Because in NFHS, you do sampling for the sex ratio. In the census, you collect the data from every household. Okay. So two statements are correct. Right option for the question will be option B here. Let me go forward now. Pax Silica. Congress takes a swipe at PM. Let's not get into the political aspect of it. The important points. What is this Pax Silica? Pax Silica is a new initiative that has been announced by United States of America, USA. USA has announced a new initiative, Pax Silica, wherein it wants to form a group or the club of 9 countries. It wants to form a group of 9 countries. And what is the objective of Pax Silica? They want to ensure that this dominance of critical mineral production supply, which is right basically with the China now, the reliance on the China will be reduced. Simple. Reliance on China would be reduced. Is it okay? Right. So the measures under this include new joint ventures, new investment opportunities will be considered. They will be protecting sensitive technologies so that they will not become accessible to other countries which might abuse and get a dominant position in the market. They want to focus on developing trusted technology ecosystem, information communication technology systems, etc. These are the most important measures that the government of USA has proposed. It's a proposal right now. But why it has become an issue? India is not one of the members right now. Right? India is not one of the members. I said there are 9 countries which are there under the proposal. These are the 9 countries. These are the 9 countries. India is not one of the member. India, if it is allowed to join later, might become a member in the future. Right? So these are certain important points associated with Pax Silica, and that has been taken by a political party and the government, or let's say another political party has been criticized. Don't enter into all that political debate. Now, let's go forward. Those who are congratulating Raksha, Gaurav, etc., my congratulations as well. Please focus on the discussion. I've congratulated on your behalf. Focus on the discussion now. Blood transfusion bill. Right? Thalassemia patients hail new transfusion bill. Blood transfusion bill. Why is this article so important for you? Why you should focus on the points here? Listen to me very, very carefully. Last month, there was a case, right, in the state of Chhattisgarh. There was a case. A donor blood was taken. It was given to around 6 children. But later it was found that the blood of the person who had donated the blood was suffering from AIDS, was suffering from HIV. Now, because his blood was taken and it was given, right, or transfused into different children, all the 6 children also ended up having same disease. right? So that's the reason the government of India, after this came to light, government of India announced that right now there is no proper testing of the blood that is donated and collected. There is no proper testing. The government mandated that. I'll tell you a name of the test. Please remember this. Government mandated that going forward, whenever the blood is donated, rather than doing a simple check to find out what kind of, let's say, the issues are there with the blood or the quality of the blood, now you will have to conduct ELISA test. ELISA, ELISA, pronounce it however you want to. It basically refers to a kind of a test. Full form of this is enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. An enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. Those are from biology background, biotechnology background, or the chemistry background will be very happy now. ELISA test has to be conducted, which is much more qualitative. Enzymes are used, antibodies are used to find out what kind of, let's say, diseases are there with the person, etc. So, in addition to that, this is what happened last month. In addition to this, now the government of India has proposed a new bill, National Blood Transfusion Bill. Under the National Blood Transfusion Bill, the government of India has proposed to create a dedicated National Blood Transfusion Authority. What is the role of this particular authority? It will create a safeguard, it will create a, let's say, standards which has to be followed across India by any lab which is collecting blood. Whenever the blood is donated, what should be the safeguards? What should be the test conducted? How the blood has to be stored? How the blood has to be transported, transfused, etc. All of that shall be done. The safeguards or the mechanism shall be announced by this National Dedicated Blood Transfusion Authority. In addition to that, same storage, distribution, issuance, transfusion, etc. All of those will be mentioned, or the provisions associated with all of those will be provided or will be given under the bill. Now, there is also one more term, thalassemia. Thalassemia patients. Question can be asked on thalassemia. Thalassemia is a hereditary disease. It's a genetic disorder rather than disease. It is an hereditary genetic disorder. Right? When it is passed on to the children, right, those who will get this particular disorder, genetic disorder, they will be anemic. They will face a lot of health complication because their body cannot produce a sufficient number of red blood cells, specifically hemoglobin. Because hemoglobin is required to carry oxygen throughout the body, there will be problem with the production of that. Right? And that's the reason oxygen supply will be an issue with these patients. Right? And they will keep on requiring multiple transfusions throughout their life. They will require input of blood. So they have welcomed this particular move and they want the parliament to implement the bill or pass the bill and implement the provisions ASAP. Done? Now based on this, let's solve an MCQ. This should be easier. Please solve it and please tell me as soon as possible because I can go then to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding thalassemia. It is a hereditary genetic disorder. In this, the body does not produce sufficient white blood cells. WBC, no, it is not associated with the WBC. It is associated with RBC. Here also some of you are making a mistake. Why? Please tell me. Why you people are making a mistake here? First statement is correct. Right option for the question will be option A, only one. Okay, let's go forward. No opt-out option in APAAR ID consent forms. Odisha High Court. What is the debate all about? The government of India has proposed a 12-digit identification number for every student. For every student, they have proposed a 12-digit identification number and this is called as APAAR ID. APAAR stands for Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry. Simple. It's a 12-digit number and this will be used to identify every student. And this APAAR ID, once created, will be connected to all of your, right, let's say, activities in the school. For example, what was your scores? What is your, right, let's say, what is your percentage? which subjects you have taken, etc. All of that will be connected to the APAAR ID, and the APAAR ID will be connected to the Aadhaar. Now, the government of India, when they announced APAAR under the right as promoted under the National Education Policy 2020, it is provided, the provision is there under the NEP 2020. The union government, when they announced APAAR ID, they said it's not mandatory, it is voluntary. Simple. Not mandatory, it is voluntary. Now, this is being implemented across multiple states, and this is one case in the state of Odisha. In the state of Odisha, right, a consent form was given to all the parents. Consent form, that is, they will have to give a consent to link the APAAR with Aadhaar, and they will have to provide the Aadhaar credentials. Some of the parents have raised a concern. What is their concern? The government on one side says APAAR ID is voluntary. You don't have to, right, mandatorily have APAAR ID. But in the consent form, there is no clause for opt-out. There is no provision for opt-out. Meaning what? I am giving you a consent form. In the consent form, there is no mention that you can opt out of APAAR ID. There is no, right, let's say, opt-out provision. And second, once you give a consent, can you withdraw the consent? There is no clarity regarding that as well. And many of the parents basically raised a concern. Their concern was Aadhaar is a personal, right, let's say, information. Why should we simply give away our Aadhaar information? Right? And there is no provision for opting out. There is no provision of withdrawing the consent later on. And they approached Orissa High Court. They approached Orissa High Court, and those are saying it is compulsory in my college, mandatory. My dear, the government of India guideline says it's not mandatory, it is voluntary. It's another fact that in the implementation, that particular information is not given. That information is not given to the people. Right? That is where the implementation is a problem associated with APAAR ID. Now, what has the Orissa High Court stated? The Orissa High Court simply says the language which has been mentioned in the consent form is not correct. It is not appropriate. The consent form has to be revised so that the opt-out option is provided in the consent form. And if the parent wants to withdraw the consent, there has to be a provision which is mentioned in the consent form clearly. Right? That is basically the update associated with APAAR ID. Is everybody okay with this? Please do let me know. Next article, important one. Please make a note of this. Assam's Demow model focus of ICMR project for zero snake bite deaths. Important one. Why? Annually, right, according to one estimate, in India, more than 58,000 people die because of snake bites. More than 58,000 people die because of snake bites. And a lot of times people die because they do not know which hospital they should go, and they do not know how or within what time they should go to the hospital. Because please remember, there's a term called as golden hour. In the context of snake bite, there is a term called as golden hour. Golden hour simply refers to the 30 to 60 minute window after the snake has bitten you. After the snake has bitten you, for the next 30 to 60 minutes, it is called as a golden hour. And the chances of you surviving the snake bite, assuming the snake is poisonous one. I hope you understand. Assuming the snake is poisonous one, the chances of survival are very, very high if you approach a hospital within 30 to 60 minutes. That is golden hour. Now, what is the right information provided here? There is a small place in Assam, Demow. Right? This is a place, right, in Assam which falls or which is under Shivasagar district. Shivasagar district. Now, this particular place for the 4 years from 2021 to 2024, I repeat, for 4 years, 2021 to 2024 has reported zero snake bite deaths. I'll repeat the statement. Let that information sink in. This place has reported zero snake bite deaths for 4 consecutive years from 21 to 2024, despite reporting 863 snake bites. In this area, 863 snake bite cases have been reported. But how many deaths? Right? Zero deaths. Zero deaths because of the snake bite. And that's the reason the Indian Council for Medical Research has taken the model which was followed in this place. They want to study the model and implement the model across India. Implement the model across India, because like I said, India has very high number of snake bite deaths every year. So what is the model which has been followed? Please remember this. You don't have to write it down. After the session is over, the PDF of the PPT will be uploaded. Please download, but more importantly, use the data. Use the points. They followed a 3-pronged approach. Right? The center here, or the place here, the hospitals here, they followed a 3-pronged approach. First, community awareness campaign was launched back in the year 2018. And the second stage is Venom Response Team VRT, where villagers would be linked to the nearest hospital through phone calls, phone alerts, as well as WhatsApp messages. And the third one is the Fast Response Team, FRT, wherein well-trained health workers would be providing a quick intervention, that is anti-venom. Anti-venom, that's very important, by the way. A lot of times people go to hospital, the hospitals do not know what is the snake which has bitten. Right? Whether this particular snake is venomous or non-venomous, all that information is not available to the hospital. That is the reason why there are a lot of cases of deaths because of the snake bites in India. So this is a 3-pronged approach which was followed, which has worked out very well. Now ICMR has launched a new initiative where they want to study this model and expand it to the whole of India. Done? Okay. Now a couple of more articles, small articles only for prelims examination. Ponduru Khaadi. Ponduru Khaadi, that is basically a village in Andhra Pradesh. Please remember, a village in Andhra Pradesh which is known for producing a kind of textile which is used or which is manufactured using certain type of cotton grown in the region. The process that is used to produce this is different. It is localized. The cotton that is used to produce, it is also localized. So the cottons essentially are Punasa cotton, red cotton, as well as hill cotton. So the way the textile is woven, right? Let's say saris. The way the sari is woven, it is restricted. It is limited to the region in the Andhra Pradesh. In fact, there is a historical connection to this as well. Historical connection, right? Once Mahatma Gandhi, when he visited this particular region, he was gifted this khadi. He was gifted a shawl, right, made up of this particular khadi. When he looked at, he experienced that, and he felt it is a very good quality of khadi. In fact, he sent his son to this particular village to study how the khadi is actually manufactured. Right, so this particular khadi now has been given geographical indication tag. It has been given with geographical indication tag. Right, so this is an update. Please make a note of this. But let me ask you one question. I want to answer from your side. Which ministry and specifically which authority is responsible for giving GI tag in India? Do let me know. And this is my suggestion. Focus on the GI tags, focus on the IPRs, because I'm pretty sure all of you heard of this now. Prada has entered into an agreement to sell Kolhapuri chappals. It has entered into an agreement with certain suppliers from Kolhapur, that is Maharashtra, to sell their Kolhapur chappals. So a lot of discussion is happening associated with IPR. Please be very careful. Now, last article, just factual information. New oral drugs expand options for gonorrhea treatment. What are the 2 drugs? Please make a note of this. The 2 new drugs are Nozolvens as well as Bluejipa. These are the new 2 drugs which have been approved by FDA, the US authority, FDA, for the treatment. Both are oral treatments. Both have been approved, right, for the treatment of gonorrhea. Right, so these are the 2 names of the drugs. Please remember that. Right, so these are the important articles, concepts, as well as the questions I wanted to discuss with you people in today's session. Right, if you have liked the discussion that I've done, please hit the like button. If you're yet to join our YouTube channel, kindly join right now. And just a reminder, do not forget Tuesday. I repeat, Tuesday. On Tuesday, 6 p.m., I'll have a marathon session on the chapter banking. Right, we will have a comprehensive discussion of all the concepts from this particular chapter. Do not miss out. So that's it from my side. Take care. See you tomorrow sharp at 10 a.m. Have a great day.